This video hit my, my inbox, and I watched it this morning, and they're talking about a ghost town, and obviously we'll play the video in a minute, but I just realised there's a few things, that there are people there. These buildings look derelict, but that's going. That's got smoke coming out of the chimney, so this thing is going. But the people don't, there's hardly anybody living here now, so they say, but obviously the place of it, I might not say it, it's too difficult to say, but it says snow adds an extra layer of eeriness to this ghost town in northern Russia, and some of the buildings are lighter but they're covered in snow, so it just makes it look more white. It says temperatures in the, wherever that is, region can drop to -50. This town is near Vorkuta, a coal mining community north of the Arctic Circle. And when you look at the buildings, they do look empty, and like most of the windows are open, and obviously people can't live there in that temperature with the windows open, and they look empty anyway, but they look like people have ransacked it. Look, with the layout of the place, I don't think it looks that young, it looks old. But anyway, many workers have abandoned the area as mines close. Let's go back and read that again. And unemployment rises. But quite amazing, this whole place is empty, derelict, but there's masses of machinery which must work at the plant, which I just showed you with steam coming out of it. But that's still there, masses of it, so we're just getting there. So this place is empty. Probably houses, they'll tell you 20,000 or at least a few thousand people. All shut up, derelict. See, this is what happens if you do run out. Say this is empty. In the UK, I noticed they were demolishing the buildings. So why were they doing that? This is what happens when you can't afford it. You leave it and it becomes like this. But in the UK, no, they take everything down and you wouldn't even know it was there. They did it to Bowood House. They knocked this house down, which was quite a big Tartarian looking house. But anyway, back to this one. There's the place, the business over here, whatever that is. Or maybe that's an extra one. They said mines, didn't they? Still quite a big place, isn't it? But they have all this machinery. Yeah, sorry, I'm just going back because I suddenly realised, I noticed something, but there's all this machinery there. Trucks, trailers. I can't imagine that someone would want to leave all this there and pretend that this didn't exist. What is it? That poor there, they can't sell any of that, or it belongs to someone else, and maybe it's a Saturday afternoon and maybe a lot of people aren't at work. But it's just snowed, you just don't know what the backstory is because they lie so much. But there's a lot of machinery there, diggers and stuff, but quite covered in snow. But it could have just snowed, well, in the last so many hours. And that route, I'm going to come back to that one in a minute, this bonnet here. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Let's see, there's masses of it. Says the place abandoned, but I did see people. See, that is moving. That is driving. See, so there is someone there. But they're saying this is a ghost town. Yeah, see that bonnet there? The ice is melted, but this has all got snow on it. So I don't know if they go together. Maybe that's just melted. I don't know. Look at all that machinery. Yeah, get to this bit. We're just going to, after this bit, sorry, I always go back a bit too far. But when you see, you can see footprints, like here, look, things have been driving around here. There's loads of cars there, and then this car, I showed you before, it's here, and in a moment you'll see that it's further down the road because that's moving. There you go, it's moved, see, because this is a video I've taken it from. But, what's all those, lots of tracks just here, see, that don't look that old, or make it look like, that's, I don't know, Anyway, does this look new? Kind of looks, I don't know. Very flat there, isn't it? Look how flat that is. That piece of land. Anyway, that's my bit on this. Don't know. I can't say whether it is. Well, these buildings are empty, but there are people here. I think that is a person standing there, and that car's moving. And I saw. So it's not. There's people there. They call it the ghost town. I decided to go and do a little bit of homework once I'd done that video, that part of the video. Wanted to look up where it roughly was in Russia, and you know, just look up, like, there it is, all the way up there. And later on I'll read it to you where it says it takes 40 hours on a train to get to Moscow. Wow. So we must have been in that bit there, because there's the plant going. And it says, I'm a hostage of the North, trapped in a post-Galath Arctic city. Many Russians in the far north have been waiting for more than 2 decades to be resettled in lower altitudes. They are caught between Moscow's grand plans for the Arctic development and the exodus of aging Soviet workers longing to see flowers rather than the blizzards in the springtime. In the 1920s and 30s, the Soviet government set its eyes on exploiting the resource of the rich Arctic territory. Despite being 800 miles from the nearest railway, Joseph Stalin ordered Gulag, which is that one there, the Gulag people, however you say that, I don't know, it's Russian, inmates to begin developing coal mines in Vorkuta, whatever that word is, Vorkuta, whatever that is, a task that disseminated the prison population. Now this place itself is dying, even as President Putin hopes to develop the Arctic. Pictured is Rudnik, oh right, an abandoned mining settlement in the Vorkuta, Russia. So Vorkuta, there is a town. Yeah, there is a town, but there's obviously outlying areas. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't look very good there at times, and it snows a lot, and it looks like they have heavy cold weather with sort of blizzardy snow. I don't know if I'd like to live here. 800 miles from the nearest town, and with buildings like this around you, it'd be pretty depressing, wouldn't it? Look at the buildings. These don't look like they've had many people around them. But there are buildings like this in the town centre, and that looks a bit more impressive, doesn't it? Same sort of buildings, but they live around many buildings that look like this. It is quite a big place, this town. Life. Yeah, let's put that down a little bit so you can see the... Doesn't look very... Lots of run-down places here. I wonder what their light is like in the winter to the summer. Would you want this on your doorstep? I mean, there are people living in this town. I mean, on the pictures they show you there's quite a few people, but I mean, look what they're living around. Obviously these are towns in the area. There's that mine again with other buildings, derelict, without their roofs on, a lot of those. Lots of snow. But what I noticed was, later on we're going to show you what it says, but these lights are on. You know, if you don't have any money, you don't have the lights on. So we've got lights. We're going to read it in a minute, so I'll explain it to you more. And this was about the mining incident. So they had incidents there. But a lot of people. There are buildings like this there. There is that bigger building in the town. Roads are quite wide. But there's all this round. But, you know, I've not been there. I don't know. But this is... Anyway, this is what I want to read you. This is abandoned sports centre. The abandoned town of Halma lies about 70 kilometres north of that place. In 1993, its mine was closed and the inhabitants were given compensation to move away. 2 years later, the gas and electricity supplies were turned off, and the handful of remaining residents were forced to relocate. Hundreds of buildings sat empty, decaying. Once a year, a group of the town's former inhabitants travel to meet and reminisce. So basically, some of these places don't even have electricity anymore. So there was 13 settlements, each with its own mine. And then Arena, she was an Olympic tennis coach, and she lives there. She lives in wherever that is there. Let's go back to that bit a minute. She lives there, and she's talking with neighbours, but not many neighbours. And then it says there, it was one of the bigger and wealthier cities in the northern Russia during the Soviet era, but it's all, hang on a second, let's move my cursors in the way. Let's get on here. But it's all roads are empty like this today. Due to the town's isolation and extreme weather, there is a high rate of depression among inhabitants, but they paint the buildings with bright colours to bring the cheer during the long, white and cold winters. That's what it says. But there's still like 4 cars there. It's not empty, is it? There's a person walking down the road. And then this one just says most of the theatres and cinemas and other cultural events are closed. Heavy snow does not deter the inhabitants from taking a walk along the 6 mile avenue. Along the 6 kilometre long avenue. Wow, so it's quite a big place then if it's got 6 kilometres of avenue. And look, you can see loads of people in there and there are people out. So quite a few people live in this place. Then it says, the town, once home to the thriving coal mining industry, is full of abandoned buildings that the government does not have the funds to repair. Oh, it's carried on, hang on a second. The extremes in temperatures in the winter to -40 make the buildings unattainable and liable to collapse, and so forth. There. That's that bit. So, I wonder what summers are like there. We might have a look at the temperatures. I came across other pictures while looking. This is the snow that's got into the buildings. But again, there's sofas and things in there. See, there's sofas. It's like these people left quite quickly. Why would they leave all their stuff behind? Interesting. Anyway, those are the temperatures. It says from -26. It gets up to about 25 Celsius. 7. It's rarely below. Well, that's actually, it says long winters. And what's the word they used? I thought, wow, I've never heard that word being used before, but I'll find it in a moment. It does get quite cold, -26 in the winter. So in a little bit, I decided to put what average temperatures we get to the average temperatures that they're supposed to get. A bit more about them. They don't really have any nice weather, to be honest. I mean, a lot of America, frigid, that's it. It's called frigid, then freezing, then cool, then cold, then frigid. So between November and February, March, it's frigid time. Anyway, I was quite interested in this. I was looking at the average sunlight. There was more hours in 2020. Less last year. And did you see that? We go on some kind of pattern here. Look. Up, 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 down, 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 down. Up, 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 down, down, down. Look. In different years. January, April, July. Oh, that's 2015 to 2020. I just thought that was interesting. And on we go. So that is the temperatures. Look at that, -24. They get up to about 18 in July. But you know, I don't even know what temperatures. They're always telling us we're a lot cooler, and some days you feel like you're in a microwave, and other days you think, well, it's supposed to be that temperature. Sometimes maybe it's the chill of the air, but that's the UK, so we get up to 24, but we're not nearly as cold in the winter. It feels cold enough here, but we're not as cold as them. So I thought that was interesting. So let's go back to, there it is. -24, it's quite cold. And only gets 18 degrees. That's like most people's winter is their summer. But anyway, just adding this into the video. Then it says, the last town of the Soviets in pictures, the above Arctic Circle, 40 hours by train from Moscow, sits the Russian city of whatever that's called. It was built by the Gulag inmates who were given purposely by the coal industry that used to be the region's lifeblood. Now mining has disappeared, leaving many of its outposts abandoned. And then that's about the photographs. It was in the news, The Guardian or something. But yeah, so basically I'm going to show you some more pictures in a minute. Anybody can stop and read any of the little quotes if you want to see a bit more. Yeah, these people built all that. It's the same thing. Everybody looks desperate. There's loads of people. There's loads of mud. But the one thing I realised was the Gulag people, they basically were prisoners, which we're going to read about just a little bit in a minute. But look at it all. It's just all desolate, desperate, horrible, muddy, ugly. Said that they worked these people to death to make this, whatever they're making. But I mean, these people did all this, built those houses and those blocks of flats, even if they're empty now. Those people did it. Really? It's the same sort of thing again. You can't imagine that those people built all that and did it in the 1920s. But a lot of them were prisoners. I think a few of those pictures were about the war, but a lot of them, like there, for instance, prisoners in one of the Gulag prisons. You want to be sent up there then. Anyway, so let's just read what this says. Was a system of forced labour camps established during Joseph Stalin's long reign as a dictator of the Soviet Union. The word Gulag is an acronym for Glavone, whatever that is there, or main camp administration. The notorious prisons which incarcerated about 18 million people throughout their history, wow, operated from the 1920s until shortly after Stalin's death in 1953. At its height, the Gulag network included hundreds of labour camps that held anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 people each. Conditions at Gulag were brutal. Prisoners could be required to work up to 14 hours a day, often in extreme weather. Many died of starvation, disease or exhaustion. Others were simply executed. Yeah. There you go. Anyway, let's move on. Well, that doesn't look very good then, does it? So, all those poor people built all those... Well, it's not just a town, is it? There's communities, there's like buildings everywhere. And then it says... there you go. So after the revolution in 1917, when Lenin died in 1920, propelled his power and became... The Gulag was first established in 1919, and by 1921 the Gulag system had 84 camps, but it wasn't until Stalin's rule that the prison population reached significant numbers. From 1929 until Stalin's death, the Gulag went through a period of rapid expansion. Stalin viewed the camps as an efficient way to boost industrialization in the Soviet Union and access valuable natural resources such as timber, coal and other minerals. Well, it was pretty flat there, and look at that, 1919. 84 camps with all these people in it. Is it that when we got flooded, it's, you know, like we've got all these people exiting to America and putting to camps and their children taken away. Look at all these camps. You don't even know why the people were there. You know, maybe when they said they're insane, they were the people telling the truth. Who knows anymore what all this is about? And look at that. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are sent up to this area where there's no resources, and now they're making this great big place to live. And now it's so far away from anything that it can't be maintained at all, and there's loads of people stuck there waiting to be relocated, and it gets to -40 and just etc, 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 etc. My goodness gracious me. But these people built all that. Where did the money come from? If they've got no money today and these places are left empty, then how did they do it in these days? I just so wish that we knew the real history. But there's a bit more of information that I found out about, because I wanted to know if it was true or not. But there's many pictures of the decaying town, but people do live there still, and it looks like quite a few people still live there. I mean, what are they living in? Anyway, thanks for watching. What's your thoughts?